I'm Teresa Skelton of the Hampshire Police Monitoring Group. I'm making this video to show that there is no accountability or even vaguely honest or effective police complaint system, where it is a matter of misconduct and corrupt behaviour by police themselves. Here's how it's supposed to work in the county force. Police and Crime Panel, made up of local councillors and so-called independent, co-opted members, who mostly turn out to be retired police officers, to supervise the Police and Crime Commissioner. Police and Crime Commissioner, a local politician elected once every 4 years to oversee the Chief Constable and deal with complaints against him or her. In Hampshire, Donna Jones. The Chief Constable, directly commanding the police and executing the plan laid down by the PCC. In Hampshire, currently Scott Chilton. In reality, we seem to have police and crime commissioners who get too big for their boots and chief constables whose backs they scratch. Donna is so concerned about violence against women and girls and domestic abuse that she set up a focus group. Here's a picture of her concerned face outside the Houses of Parliament. Now, at the Hampshire Police and Crime Panel meetings, they've all been claiming Donna how wonderful she is and how concerned she is. But what they forget is how this report and the little contribution from women who really suffer from domestic violence or violence of any sort at the hands of men, how little they contributed to this report. I pointed out to Jason Kenny, Donna Jones's senior sidekick, that only 9 people turned up to the focus group I attended in Portsmouth on 13th of September 2022, and only 1 woman, apart from myself, had been a victim of male aggression. I got a reply to my complaint from Jace, the man in the pink shirt. He said there was a total of 6 focus groups. 32 people took part out of the entire population of Hampshire. Well, 6 out of the 9 at my group were officials, so that would bring the number to 26. My husband was only there to protect me, and thank God he was there. That brings the number down to 25. Now, the 8th attendee was Conservative councillor Leslie Minahan. She's now on the Police and Crime Panel subcommittee that deals with complaints against the Police and Crime Commissioner. She described feeling unsafe with taxi drivers, then laughingly described how she got into a taxi drunk and how vulnerable she felt. She didn't say that anything happened. Presumably, she got home safely and the taxi driver was a completely innocent man. Perhaps we might have expected more gravitas and sense of responsibility from a woman of her age and status, especially since she says,
"As a retired police officer, I am fully aware of the challenges facing the police at this time.
I can only say, Leslie, you were drunk and you got home safely. I was sober at a Police and Crime Panel police meeting and I was violently assaulted by a PCSO." Let's fast forward to the recent Police and Crime Panel meeting of 20th October 2023, where it's decided who is going to have to pay for cameras in taxis to keep women like Leslie safe.
Just a quick one on the cameras in the taxis. How much are they to put in the taxis and who's picking up the cost for those?
The cost is being borne by the taxi drivers themselves in conjunction with the licence authority. I think I had an update from one of the taxi drivers that they're about £300 odd, £350.
Can we have any confidence in this one? The 9th member of the group was Terry Norton, PCC Donna Jones's deputy. As the senior figure present, Terry Norton had the responsibility for the 3 PCSOs who turned up outside the meeting room, apparently there to intimidate me. He threatened me with being thrown out of the room if I breathed a word of the assault on me by a male PCSO. It seems that when it comes to violence against women, an exception is made if the attackers are police officers. No wonder we get the likes of Wayne Couzens. Terry Norton was more vocal than anyone else round the table. He would have done better to have listened rather than talked. His reference to, quote, black people not accepting their rights, unquote, when arrested might have been deemed offensive. He should have been paying attention to why they do not accept their rights. Like myself, who will never, ever accept any alleged rights from Hampshire Constabulary. There's no will to put anything right. Fast forward to 2023. In 2016, Winchester Councillor Jan Warwick was at the Hampshire Police and Crime Panel meeting where I was seized. I was talking to her at the moment I was snatched from behind and assaulted by PCSO 13204 Lawrence Day. She was a witness to everything. But would she make a statement on my behalf when the police fitted me up for allegedly assaulting Day? No. She kept her head down and her nose clean. This gutless and self-serving woman now chairs Hampshire County Council Health and Wellbeing Board, where I recently called her out in public. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Skelton, thank you for your comments. Thank you for reading our papers. You're very welcome to stay.
No, I won't be staying. I've got to go. But Jane, you're part of this. You were there that day when I was violently assaulted by a PCSO over there. And the police tried to say it was my husband, who's never laid a finger of me in 30 years. He's never touched me in 30 years. I've been happily married. It was right, you turned your back on me and sat down and allowed a young police officer to really injure me, hold me in isolation for 23 hours, and then charged me with kicking him. Everybody knew I was in no fit state to kick a young man.
Thank you.
My eyes were open to corrupt behaviour by police and the injustice that follows from it back in 2004, when I was, myself, the victim of a rigged prosecution, which damaged my career. The rigging appears to have happened in the office of the then Deputy Chief Constable of Hampshire, Ian Reedhead. This is what a falsified document looks like. Doesn't it look convincing? WPC 3298 Brown lied in court, letting the judge think that I'd been arrested for being abusive and foul-mouthed. In reality, I never saw a police officer at all until 7 weeks after the alleged event. Surprise, surprise, this was never disclosed to me, but it was sent to me anonymously after the trials. It took me 8 years to get an acknowledgement from the Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner, signed by the current PCC herself, that the falsification of an official complaint from a member of the public by a police officer in order to incentivise a prosecution against the complainant by the CPS would be a criminal offence. From 2015 to 2023, they claimed not to know. I went through all the right processes. This included the Police and Crime Panel under its old leadership. The members of its complaint subcommittee turned out to be lazy and derelict. You can find the full facts in this video on Rumble and YouTube. The trawling of my medical records by Hampshire Constabulary at the behest of a rival candidate when I stood in the general election in 2017 was an obvious criminal act, an offence of police corruption under current law. But when I reported the matter to police, By calling 101, the force responded with foul threats against me for harassing the culprits whose identities they have withheld. I was at the meeting of the Hampshire Police and Crime Panel, Ashburton Hall, on the 20th of October 2023 to present PCC Donna Jones and Chief Constable Scott Chilton copies of papers relating to corruption and criminal behaviour by Hampshire officers which they have claimed they know nothing about. These papers I have previously sent by recorded delivery, email and personally handed in at their offices. Inspector Minnock was clearly at the panel meeting along with his squad to prevent this happening.
No, because we're not going to accept any old package just to directly
It's not a package.
Listen, if you want to send it, please send it via recorded.
I have. Yeah. You never guess. Later on that day, I did get a receipt for my recorded delivery complaint. No signature or name of person, just complaints and review team. The third issue is how did a PCSO magically become a civilian? A word should perhaps be said about the Crown Prosecution Service, a key link in the laughingly named justice system. Without this agency's say-so, no prosecution, including the most dodgy and corrupt fit-up, can go ahead. The CPS processes the evidence of the police before giving the green light. In this county, we're talking about Wessex CPS. In my own 2016 case, I was prosecuted for allegedly kicking PCSO 13204 Lawrence Day in the knee at a public meeting of the Hampshire Police and Crime Panel. The evidence disclosed to me described the PCSO's behaviour as impeccably professional. He was present in response to a call, dressed exactly as shown here. But in court for the pre-hearing, CPS Senior Prosecutor David Fosler breathlessly came out with, "It's all right, Teresa, it's all right. We admit he didn't identify himself." Mr. Fosler then turned to the magistrate and said, "He was a civilian sitting there." With this lie, Mr. Fosler was trying to make out that he was doing me a favour, because the charge could be reduced from assault on a designated person to assault by beating, also known as common assault. In fact, reducing the charge meant that the case would go to the magistrates rather than the Crown Court. The Chief Constable, Olivia Pinckney, would thus be spared searching cross-examination in a much too public setting. And a conviction would be much easier to get. Here's a quotation from a serving magistrate quoted in this book. "Quite the most unpleasant cases that we have to decide are those where the evidence is a direct conflict between a police officer and a member of the public. My principle in such cases has always been to believe the evidence of the police officer, and therefore we find the case proved." The question here is, what did the police tell the CPS in order to manipulate the charge in this way? So far, Hampshire Constabulary has refused to give me any answer. In fact, between them, the people running our police have a ragbag of tricks to avoid levelling with the public when they are put on the spot. Confronted face to face over her perjury against me, ex-Chief Constable Olivia Pinckney tries to change the subject.
You had to lie. You had to lie in court, and I can publicly call you a liar. You should arrest yourself, Olivia, for this.
We'll leave it there.
No, it's not going away.
We are the paying
Public,
Olivia.
yeah, and you work for us.
Please listen.
Look,
Point your finger at me. No.
Nobody's pointing their finger at
finger
you,
at you.
Olivia. I'd rather a man who points a finger at somebody than a liar like yourself.
Can you not point your finger at me?
Well, look, I'm
trying
doing
to,
that.
I'm trying to understand.
Look, hang on, I'm shaking. Do you not feel that I might be terrified seeing all you police officers?
Okay, I'm
The
just
way
trying to
you
understand.
bullied
I'm
and
trying to
telling you,
understand.
that's all you can do. That's all she could say to me was, oh, don't point your finger at me. But I'm dealing with violent police officers.
Please listen.
Look,
Point your finger at me. No.
Do they teach them this one at police college? The next trick is pretending they don't know what you're talking about, when it's obvious they do. This is from a brief conversation with Donna Jones.
Nothing to do with shoplifting. It was the one in Hampshire Council. Yeah, I was at Ashburn at Hampshire PCC. Yeah. There's Miss. I want to speak to Scott Chilton. I'm going to ask him outright why he doesn't reply.
Yeah, you replied, but he didn't.
Yeah, but even so, I've spoken to him because I said.
Listen again, as there is a lot of noise in the background. So, PCC Donna has spoken to him. And what do we get from Chief Constable Chilton?
Rosemary, you're not going to hold Mr. Scott Chilton, are you?
Teresa, do you want a word?
A word, yes I do.
Let's go somewhere quieter.
Yeah.
Can I pick up this conversation with you?
quickly.
We went somewhere quieter.
Because you'll never see the back of me. There's someone I need to speak to. Yeah, but
okay.
I'm here first. So.
I need to.
Yeah, I need to speak.
Right, okay, Teresa.
Right, I want to know, I've asked you and I've written to you, I want to know what changed a PCSO into a civilian. This PCSO violently assaulted me, and all you're doing is passing my letters around the houses, but I want you to get that answer for me within a week, otherwise I'm going to make a full complaint about you to Donna Jones, because it's been going on for too long.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, this is it. You should be reading my letters. They're sent to you private and confidential. They should be sent to you private and confidential. It's disgraceful that you don't know.
Well, I'll have a look at it, but I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know who you are.
So, after saying, hello, Teresa, and after Donna has confirmed discussing my issues with him, he denies knowing who I am or what I'm talking about.
I don't even know who you are.
Here is one of the 2 letters of reply from Chief Constable Scott Chilton, bearing his signature.
Your Olivia Pinckney committed perjury against me.
Okay.
I can say it.
This twice.
Yeah, she's a disgusting
You appreciate
woman.
I don't know anything
Yeah, well,
about
this is it. You're saying that, but I've been telling Donna's just said that she's been discussing me with you and what have you, so I don't know what's going on then. If you all
I don't know any of the
everything.
circumstances. So you've written to me, have you?
I've written to you lots of
Okay, when
times.
did you last write to me?
I'm going to leave it a week. I'll write to you again. I handed it the other now and everything.
All right. Yes. Well, I don't know the circumstances.
Well, Donna Jones said she's been talking to you about it, so you obviously can't remember what she told you.
This seems to be the type of dumb insolence we can expect when we try to get honest answers from even our most senior police officers.
Donna, thank you so much. Sorry. Scott claims he doesn't know me or anything about my case. I thought you discussed things with him.
And here's the latest preposterous excuse for not letting me hand papers directly to the Police and Crime Commissioner, with whom I've been holding personal conversations at Police and Crime Panel meetings for the last 2.5 years. Over to Inspector Minnock.
So what you're saying is you're not prepared to accept a crime?
For security reasons,
So, all of a sudden, I'm a security risk. Well, we've heard it all now. At the Police and Crime Panel meeting of 20th of October, Donna Jones turned up with Scott Chilton and an entourage of officials and police officers, seemingly as some sort of bodyguard. In fact, at least 3 PCs and a full inspector, at a time when we're told Hampshire Constabulary is stretched to the limit for boots on the ground to fight crime on our streets. All to prevent myself or any other member of the public getting anywhere near Donna. That way, she, Scott, and Hampshire Police can go on pretending they know nothing. Of course, the Police and Crime Commissioner and her office are no keener to engage with public complaints of police misconduct and corruption than the police themselves. Delay, evasion, and downright ignorance has been the experience of myself and others. If you see this video on Rumble, which I use rather than YouTube because of shadow banning, etc., you will see PCC Donna claiming not to know about allegations of Hampshire Constabulary covering up paedophilia, in spite of being told by several people that this is going on. Watch to the end and you will see her totally ignoring an articulate deputation from a member of the public criticising the police complaint system at a police and crime panel meeting. When presented with evidence of very serious criminal behaviour, some of it reaching right to the top in Hampshire Constabulary, in a file detailing 7 cases put together by the Hampshire Police Monitoring Group, Donna's response was to contact victims individually to tell them that she was going to do nothing. Hear no evil, see no evil.
Cases included police covering up paedophilia and other sexual misconduct by prominent people, and the victimisation of whistleblowers and complainants, a series of malicious prosecutions against such complainants, perjury in court by a chief constable to secure a conviction in just such a prosecution, and the retention on police records for years of false statements against a completely innocent gentleman, admitted to be false by police themselves. 2 officers had been internally disciplined for their role in obtaining these statements, amounting to a perversion of the course of justice, but police refused to remove this false and defamatory material, gained by admittedly unlawful means some 20 years ago, from their records. This could have dire consequences for the gentleman concerned. You might have thought that distinguished retired solicitor, local councillor and chairman of Liphook Council's planning committee, Mr. Don Gerard, deserved to have the bombing of his car investigated by Hampshire Constabulary back in 2010. This event followed his exposure of planning corruption and, yet again, paedophilia among prominent local politicians and businessmen. But no, the identity of the bomber and his likely backers was no mystery, but police failed to lift a finger. They couldn't act fast enough against Mr. Gerard when he provided evidence of corruption and sexual abuse against a Hampshire judge. The judge's son, Mr. David Harvey, turned up on Mr. Gerard's doorstep, supposedly to serve papers on him, bullying and intimidating his very vulnerable wife and causing him to intervene for her protection. But in December 2014, it was Mr. Gerard who was charged with committing an assault on Mr. Harvey. The prosecution went through 16 court hearings. Police failed to disclose evidence, typical behaviour, including Mrs. Gerard's 999 call made as her husband attempted to restrain Mr. Harvey and conduct a citizen's arrest. They claimed that Mrs. Gerard's call was not recorded because of a fault in the system, a technical impossibility. They also disclosed no recording of the 999 call which David Harvey claimed to have made. Having little confidence in the possibility of acquittal if the prosecution went to any Hampshire court, Mr. Gerard obtained at great expense the removal of the case out of the county. In November 2015, it eventually came before District Judge Barbara Barnes in Wimbledon Magistrates Court. Judge Barnes threw the case out because, as she said, David Harvey was not a credible or convincing witness. It might be added that Mr. Harvey was arrested for carrying a lock knife into the court after finishing his evidence. This was malicious prosecution on stilts, and Donna Jones has been fully informed of this case.
Last Sunday in Winchester Cathedral, 8th of October, all the bigwigs turned up to celebrate their system and get it splashed with holy water. By the way, they talk a lot about diversity, but I was overwhelmed by its absence. It was an occasion to catch up with some old acquaintances.
Hello, Donna. Is that Judge Cutler? That's Judge Cutler. Look, is that Judge Cutler? That's Judge... Hello, I'm Teresa Skelton, remember? Right, shall we go down, John? That's Judge Cutler. You were right, Judge Cutler did turn up. Yeah. So who are these people then? Oh, a bit hypocritical you being here today, isn't it, Jackie? Oh, there's him, yeah. I have done. What are you doing here?
This showbiz spectacular was put together by Donna Jones in her office, together with Winchester University and the Cathedral. Cherry on the icing of a week of self-praise and self-promotion. Well, between them, they managed to ask the right question. But did they get the right answer? There were a couple of people there doing a useful job. After the hymn singing, the south transept area of the cathedral was turned into an impromptu wine bar, serving quite a good Prosecco, whoever was paying for that. The wine stewards, at least, seemed like honest, hard-working people. Though when it comes to honesty, you'd probably get a higher standard on the floor of your local Wetherspoons. Amid a lot of finger-pointing from him, Judge Cutler and I went down memory lane together over Olivia Pinckney's perjury in his court.
Judge Cutler, I just wanted to say yes.
Yeah, hello there.
Yeah,
How
but
are
you, well, put it like this. You know, everybody knows that Olivia, that's John Moores, that Olivia Pinckney committed perjury against me. Everybody knows it. And you found me guilty. Yeah, I made a film.
When you mentioned your name just now, I thought, oh yes, that was some time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not going away.
How long ago was it?
Well, it's 2016, but you knew.
Oh, was it?
You're not a fool, Judge Cutler, and that's what I find. You're not a fool. So you
We're moving along, are we? Yeah, we are a bit.
So you knew, Judge Cutler, that she lied in your court.
You were listening to. Oh, do I?
Yeah, you
it was a
do.
time ago.
I don't
Anyway,
care.
as you remember, when you have a jury trial.
It wasn't a jury trial. It wasn't.
When you have a jury trial, you can't tell people what happens in the jury room.
Well, I'm not talking about that.
On an appeal like yours, the three of us get together. I was with two magistrates.
Yeah.
And what goes on between us, we can't talk about.
But I'm not asking you to talk about. I'm telling you, you knew Olivia Pinckney committed perjury in your court.
Is Olivia here today then, or
Who?
Olivia Pinckney? Is she here?
No, I've already done her. I interviewed her and I
did you?
embarrassed her to the hill.
Oh,
But
right.
she's above the law and very well protected.
Teresa has already confronted her personally.
Oh, right. Okay. That's a good little machine.
Yeah, that's right. Because I'm sick of corruption. I've never listened to such hypocrisy that I listened to that cathedral today. All right, you stood up for Olivia Pinckney, even though you know that I didn't kick the PCSO. And he was in full uniform. He was not in. But there's old Dom, the religious man there. Dom, come and talk to Judge Cutler.
Oh, I'm just heading out now.
Oh, well, that's nice. You can escape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we
Well, I'm
go.
gonna. Yeah, but I've told you to your face. You convicted an innocent person.
Okay.
You know very well.
Okay.
I could have been in the pub drinking, but I went to university and got a degree, and I was out of work.
Were you at the hearing, my friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a fee. I'm trying to remember
Yeah, we're
that.
decent.
in the public gallery.
Yeah, because we were in one of those big courts, weren't we? The big tall
Yeah, but
courts.
you know that, and that's a disgrace. You know.
Matthew Farmer was...
And he even questioned you.
man.
Yeah, of course not. You put an innocent. Yeah, £2,000. You're talking to a bus driver and a cleaner here. £2,000 on the lie. You're delusional, and you're on another planet. But I've told you this to your face, and I'm putting this online.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Yeah, I wish you
very much.
Well, I don't know. I wish you an honest future.
I communicated my experiences with Judge Cutler to Chief Constable Chiltern. I don't know what all those medals are for.
I want to see Judge Cutler. I really had hollered at Judge Cutler. I told him off. I said to him, you know I didn't kick that PCSO. If anybody spoke to him the way I did, they would have been in contempt of court. The reason why he knew Olivia Pinckney had lied her head off.
While I was speaking to ex-magistrate Mrs. Pearson, Judge Cutler butted in to pull her away from me.
Hello there, how are you? You see, you're very good.
Yeah, look.
Look, have you looked over there?
Oh, please, you're a slippery snake,
I
aren't
know
you?
I am.
You slippery snake, Judge Cutler.
Many a true word spoken in jest.
Oh, please, you're a slippery snake,
I know
you?
I am.
My last words to Donna Jones at October's Police and Crime Panel meeting could perhaps be rightly applied to a major part of our police and legal system, which delivers anything but justice.
Donna, hang your head in shame that